Did I scare you? Fear is an emotion that you've all felt. If you're watching this channel, probably enjoy. Back in the day, the way you'd get the thrill that you get from feeling fear, you'd either go to horror movies and horror books and the occasional horror game, going out into the real world. But then the internet happened. And with it came the people that are on the internet. The internet was a major tool in the creation of multiple types of horror. And one of them is the creepypasta. For those of you that don't know, a creepypasta is a scary story designed to be spread around the internet. I was going to try and find the original sources of what a creepypasta is and where it came from, but that took way too much research, and I don't care enough to do all that. But the simplest explanation is that they were created on early internet forums to be spread around the internet, and now archived on websites like the Creepypasta Wiki and Creepypasta.com. So I decided to read 3 individual creepypastas, but then I got bored and read a bunch of really short ones. So this video is going to be 4 distinct sections. The story starts from a boat's logbook in 1691, where some guy gets really scared about a creature he saw at the end of his bed, and that's it. It then goes to a journal entry from 1880 saying pretty much the same thing. Then there's a suicide note that says pretty much the same thing again. This early bit was actually really boring, I'm not even gonna lie. But now it gets real, with an eyewitness. A family returns home from a trip to Niagara Falls, and the kids go straight to bed. In the early morning, the husband and wife awake to see a strange creature that resembles a naked man or a large hairless dog sitting at the end of their bed. It then scrambles up to the front of the husband, touching him on the knee. The naked man thing runs down the hallway towards the children's room, as the protagonist, who's the wife by the way, chases after it. In the children's room, the creature is seen crouching down over the bed, covered in blood. The badly injured daughter said in her final breath, "He's awake." The husband drove the car into a lake while rushing the daughter to the hospital, killing both of them. Our protagonist later on records herself in her sleep, waiting to see if the creature comes back, and after a solid few years she hears a voice in the recording. I give the story a 6.5 out of 10 on the writing to fear ratio, with it being quite short and having a pretty large chunk of waffle at the start of the story. It also just wasn't scary. The next story is Eyeless Jack. By the way, this story has a lot of random plot holes. Just gonna say it. It starts with the protagonist, Mitch, moving into his brother Edwin's house after not seeing each other in 10 years. Because that's what you do when you don't see someone for 10 years, you move in with them. One night you hear strange noises outside of your window, and you and Edwin assume it's raccoons. The next night, however, you hear your window open and something enter the room. You look up, and you see nothing and go back to sleep. Even though there's definitely something just hiding in the corner. I'm an idiot, I just got my web working into the next morning, Edwin sees you and is horrified as you have a gash in your left cheek. You and Edwin rush to the hospital and the doctor informs you that you have lost a kidney. Not knowing how, he decides to just send you on your way. For some reason. The next night, you awake to a truly horrifying sight. A creature with a blue mask, black hoodie and dark black eye sockets. Your first instinct is to take a photo with the camera next to your bed. The creature then jumps at you, clawing at your chest to get to your lungs. You kick it in the face and run out of your room, grabbing your wallet as you go for some reason. Because you definitely can't return to the house. You fall unconscious in the woods near Edwin's house and wake up in the hospital. The doctor tells you that you should be fine, but Edwin is kind of dead. Then you go back to Edwin's house to collect your belongings and you stumble across Edwin's body. For some reason the police haven't been bothered to do anything. You have a strange object that you find next to the body and go into your parents' car. You check your pocket and are disgusted, as the object was your own half-eaten kidney. And then the story ends. This story absolutely sucked. The writing was terrible, and as I said earlier, a lot of things are said and just not elaborated on. I give this story a 2 out of 10 because it's not scary. The final fairly long creepypasta I read was the Russian sleep experiment. We all know the Russian sleep experiment. The story starts in 1940s Russia, where some researchers decide to run an experiment on some prisoners of war about sleep. They lock 5 prisoners in a sealed chamber and pump some stupid gas in to keep them awake for 30 days. The setup has books, water, and even the luxury of food, but no blankets and pillows because that's too far. At first, everything's fine. The prisoners talk about how they're in there, their family, what they're going to do when they get let out, because they were told they're going to be released when the experiment finished. They're not being let out, by the way. But after a few days, they suddenly get really paranoid and stop talking to each other, whisper creepy stuff into the microphones to the scientists about the other prisoners, and stare into the observation windows. One guy eventually starts screaming non-stop until his vocal cords break. The researchers are creeped out because the oxygen levels say that the prisoners are alive and super active, but no sound is coming out, and they have no clue why. The researcher freaks out, shoots the commander and one of the test subjects, and confronts the last one. He gives a really sick monologue about how he's the madness inside all of us. The researcher shoots him too. This creepypasta is probably the most believed, with actual people believing it instead of just kids on the internet. And I don't blame them. It's very well written, and it's something that I wouldn't put past 1940s Russia to do. This creepypasta gets an 8 out of 10 because it's very well written, but it also isn't scary. Alright, now the final section of the creepypastas is I read a bunch of really short ones, and I can't be bothered summarising them, so I'm just going to show the footage of me reading them. Why would you dress up as an angel to kill people? Okay, so it's basically like this. You are at a friend's house. So you're with your honey and you're making out. When the phone rings, you answer, and it's in the phone, and the VO says, what are you doing with my daughter? You tell the girl and she says, my dad is dead. Then who was the phone? You gulp. Taking up the phone to your right and dialing 911. You look back out the glass as you press the phone to your ear and notice he is much closer to you now. Wasn't there a weeping angel? Then you drop the phone in shock. There are no footprints in the snow. It's a reflection. So, now we come to the point of these videos where I actually have to answer the question that I asked in the first place. Which is, are creepypastas actually scary? I genuinely hate scripting this bit because it means I actually have to think about what I'm writing. But, no, I didn't get scared by any of the creepypastas that I read for this video. There's always going to be someone saying, oh, it's subjective, and what's scary for you might not be scary for me. And to that I think that you're kinda right. Some creepypastas would probably scare some people, not scare others, with the second one being the vast majority. And I think that after this you should read some yourself, see what you think. But according to my absolutely correct opinion, creepypastas aren't scary. And probably never were. Alright, that's what you clicked on the video for. Alright, go away.